Hey guys, Professor Bell, Comic Book University, and The Shadow, Batman, issue number 6 of 6. We're finished. So, was this any good? Well, let's discuss. So, in the entirety of this 6-issue arc, plus the 6-issue arc that happened before this, Batman the Shadow, there was a lot that happened, and we get to see that Yin-Ko, the Shadow, is a lot more than just the guy who we thought he was. He had to go through a lot. In fact, in the previous issue, the previous arc, he practically died. Batman did, technically, but he had to be brought down so low that it's ridiculous. Massive change to the story. Clearly, this is not going to be in continuity, but then again, who knows? Excuse me. Either way, this was amazing. This was amazing that in this arc, specifically at the very end of this arc, while he's still at the lowest he's probably ever been, all of a sudden he has to find something within, and he has to become more powerful than he's ever been before. And that's cool, because that kind of explains the whole Leviathan thing, in some regards at least, without giving it a name, that happened in Cy Spurrier's little, what was that, a 5-6 issue series. So, wow, a lot happened here. A lot happened, and basically everybody's able to break free of their demons because the Shadow is able to break free of his. He's able to defeat Yin-Ko, and he doesn't kill him. But what happens to him at the end is very, very pleasing. When this happens, though, Damian is now able to break free. So now it's no longer Damian and Ross versus Batman. It's Batman and Damian versus Ross. And Ross, what's his name? Damian winds up leaving at one point. Batman's like, what are you doing? He's like, we're going to try and shut everything down. So Robin actually gets to be the hero in all of this. He's like, no, you can't. You can't do this. You stay here. You're bleeding. Let me tend to your bleeding. He's like, Dad. For crying out, he doesn't say dad. Damien doesn't say dad. But anyway, he's just like, are you kidding me? My mother, she once pulled out my spine and replaced it. I'll be fine. Like, wow. I guess Talia al-Ghul is up for Mother of the Year. That's insane. Just even read that. I had to go back and read that a couple times. Like, did I really read that? So what this comic book does is something that I haven't really seen in a particularly long time. It leaves us with, wait for it, it's worth it, a happy ending. That's kind of weird, because it's not just a conclusion of the story arc and, maybe we'll get a continuation of the story, or it's like, okay, we're concluding this here. No, it's not even about the conclusion. It's about there was actually a happy ending, because there was a lot in here that I could make references to before, but it wasn't enough that I'd really comment on it. But the way that this ended, the commentary that was here, it seems to me, the way that I feel, okay, this is me talking, I feel like this was a big commentary on especially what had happened in 2008 in the States with the economic collapse, the fall of the banks. And by fall, I just mean that they crashed the entire market. And while they were about to be they were about to completely fall out of existence for the most part, the government stepped in and used our tax dollars to bail them out. Oh no, sure, they paid that back, but they didn't pay back the damages they did to all of us as citizens, with this crashed economy. And it basically just led to the idea that, hey, guess what? You can do this again, because now laws are being in place that we will always bail you out, no matter what. The whole too big to fail. Well, that's the idea that I get here, because Ross and Shin-Ko, they were talking about how they are too big to fail. Okay, they didn't actually use those terms, but it was definitely implied. So their defeat, Robin was able to do the math and said, no, they are not too big to fail. They can fall, and we'll finally be free once these guys are gone. That was something. That's why I say that this was beyond just a good ending. This was a genuinely happy ending. The whole world essentially is now able to I don't know, go out and frolic and play without a chokehold around them. So this was brave. How many times, like, they literally could have written at the end of this, happily ever after. Steve Orlando, man, did a really phenomenal job ending this. I was shocked at how happy this ending actually was. It's like straight out of a fairy tale, man. the witch has been thrown in the oven. You know what I'm saying? And Humpty Dumpty was put all back together again. Actually, no, he was left, and all the king's horse and all the king's men, they didn't have to put him back together again. We were better off without him. Anyway, enough of that and the analogies. I'm giving this comic book an A, and mind you, this is for the comic itself and for the entire series, and I'm going to bounce that over to the arc that came beforehand, the miniseries that came out before that, because all of this is connected, all of it. And while this didn't necessarily wrap up with a reference to the beginning, which I think is the only way this could have been better, going back to the whole, student mentor thing and the commentary there, this was still absolutely fantastic. And I could not possibly recommend this enough to people. This is a really good series. All 12 of these issues. This was really good. Guys, if you didn't collect all or any of the issues, if you collected some of the issues, finish grabbing the rest. If you didn't collect any of these issues, grab the trades when they come out. They are worth it for a really great story that just completely wraps up like a one-shot in Dungeons & Dragons, or a two-shot in this case. All right, guys, that's it for me. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.